element, the next aspect of this. In general, what is your response when someone's rights are challenged? Okay, so you guys encounter a bunch of different situations every day. Some of them are minor, some of them are major, right? Some of them you just hear on the news and you think, oh man, that's terrible, right? But in general, what do you think your response is when someone's rights are challenged? So just think about it for a minute. Are you typically a defender, meaning you stand up for the person who is being victimized or who the injustice is happening to? Are you a silent bystander? You just kind of stand by and let it happen, watch happen? Or do you kind of follow? Do you participate in the injustice? Okay, so think about it for a minute. We talked yesterday, I think this was you guys, about what would you do, right? That show, what would you do, and how they, portray all these different scenarios or whatever. If this was happening, would you step in? Let's see how many people are going to step in. Let's see how many people are going to help, right? So what would you say?
I mean, I think I'd be a defender because I've been in a lot of situations where my friends were like made fun of, and I'm usually there to stick up for them and stuff. So yeah,
defender. So there it is.
I would also be a defender because, I have like a deep conscience, and if I just wander by and let that person get hurt or get injured, then it'll eat away at my conscience. Like, oh, I should have think later. Oh, I should have did something about it. Oh, that was bad.
Okay, Nick.
I think most people are defenders when it comes to their friends and families. But in usual situations where we're just walking down the street and we see something happening, we just stay silent because we don't want to get in the mix of it. We don't want having trouble to ourselves.
More often the bystander.
I'm definitely a defender because, like, for example, a friend of mine put a picture of this boy on Instagram who doesn't have that many friends and people tease him a lot. So I asked her, I was like, can you take this down, like, because he goes to our school, like, people are going to tease him, laugh at him. So I defend people no matter what, whether you're my friend or not. I feel like nobody should be mistreated.
Anybody else? Jennifer?
I think it depends on the situation. If it's a really important issue, then yeah, you should defend them and stand up for them. But if it's something small or something that like they're getting in trouble for, like they deserve it, I don't think you should like defend, just like silently watch, I guess. But yeah, I guess it just depends on the situation.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people would say. But it's interesting that probably you guys are one group that I've seen more defenders in. Typically, and statistically, actually, people are more often the bystander. Back in, I think it was the 60s around there was this case where this woman was going home, and her name is Kitty Genovese, and she was being tormented. She was being stabbed by somebody. I don't know if she knew the guy or not. I don't know all the details of the story. But she was outside of an apartment complex. There were 38 people that saw this going on. Some people looked out of their window. Some people, passed by. But nobody called the police. Nobody. So the suspect left and ended up coming back later on and killing her. He didn't kill her first. He was stabbing, whatever the situation was. She was lying there. I think everybody else thought that somebody else was going to call, but nobody picked up the phone to call the police. Nobody picked up the phone to call 911, okay? So typically from that, I think a lot of psychologists, highlight that study and say, we need to look at why do people just stand by and watch things happen? Why do people stand on the outskirts? Why do people, just kind of let things go? And it says basically that when there's an emergency, the more bystanders there are, the less likely it is that any of them will actually help. Did you guys think about that, or is that surprising to you? If there are, like for example, if there's a fight, if there are masses of people in the cafeteria, do you think any of them is gonna step in if a mass of people are watching? Typically not, right? So it kind of is supported a little bit. And they call this particular phenomenon, I guess you could say, pluralistic ignorance. So this is where everybody assumes nothing is wrong because nobody else looks concerned. Like, he didn't step in, why should I? She didn't do anything about it, so I'll just stand back.